Yes.
So, welcome. I welcome you all to this live session of the course Sandhi in Pāṇinian Grammar. So, Sandhi is extremely important as far as understanding any Sanskrit text is concerned and also composing any Sanskrit text is concerned. Because the knowledge of Sandhi will enable one to figure out sometimes different sets of constituents which may lead to a different comprehension of the string. That may result in bringing about a completely different meaning of the same string, same sentence. This is possible. And that is the reason why one needs to grasp what is a sandhi, what different types of sandhis exist in Sanskrit, and most importantly, how the grammar of Sanskrit, the traditional grammar of Sanskrit, notably the grammar composed by Pāṇini, deals with the concept of sandhi. So, sandhi is sometimes very much ignored and considered to be a very simple phenomenon, which is not the case. In order to know exactly which sandhi has taken place in a particular string, it is important for us to be able to explain the sandhi phenomenon citing relevant sutras from the grammar of Pāṇini and the Pāṇinian grammatical tradition. I remember some years ago, I had conducted sessions on sandhi in a Pathshala in Pune called the Mahamahopadhyaya Vasudev Shastri Abhyankar Pathshala. And then after teaching all the Sandhi Sutras, then we had conducted a small workshop of 2 days or 3 days. And in these days, we analyzed the sandhi that is part of the text of Srimad Bhagavad Gita right from the beginning. Say Sanjaya Uvacha or Dhritarashtra Uvacha. We begin with that. Dhritarashtra Uvacha. What is the sandhi here? First of all, is there any sandhi there? If we want to go back, let us take the name of the text Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So, is there any sandhi inside this compound word? And the answer is yes. So, if we are able to demarcate these sandhis, one will be able to clearly demarcate the constituents. Srimad, Bhagavat, and Gita. Bhagavat has got Bhaga and Vat, the two constituents. Now, this ta is substituted by the as a result of some sandhi rule applying. Same thing happens with the in Srimad. And then you get the word Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Similarly, in Dhritarashtra Uvacha, you have Dhritarashtra followed by a visarga if you are asked to write the padas separately, independently. Dhritarashtraha and Uvacha. What happens to this visarga? If you go to Pāṇinian grammar, they will explain this entire phenomenon in a particular peculiar way. They will not say that the visarga is no more. They will rather say that first you have sa, Dhritarashtra plus sa, then it is substituted by ra, then it is substituted by ya, and then it gets deleted. Now, obviously, these are all the variations, these are all the substitutions seen in place of this sa in similar situations. And that's why Pāṇini has woven them in a particular string and made a particular process with these as intermittent or intermediate stages of the derivation. In all the words, these steps are not necessarily needed, but they are there, they are followed. They are stated by Pāṇini with regards to such forms using his sutras. And when we understand, when we study Pāṇini's sutras, we realize these steps, we experience them, and also realize their importance. Dhritarashtra Vacha. Similarly, in the 5th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, when the verse having all the Vartamana Kalavachaka Dhatu Sadhita Visheshanas, they are combined, Pralapan, Visrujan, Grandhan, Unmilan, Nimilan, Napi, etc. So there, some people find it extremely difficult to pronounce. The main difficulty in pronunciation is not to be able to demarcate the constituents. Now, if you know the Sandhi rules, it is possible for you to demarcate the constituents. So, Pashyan, Shrunvan, Jigran, Sprushan, Ashnan, Gachan, Swapan, Shwasan, and then Pralapan, Visrajan, and so on. So if you know that when n as a consonant is followed by sh, something is going to happen to this n. That this n is going to be substituted by a sound which is closer in terms of the pronunciation and the features of pronunciation of sh, and therefore this n gets substituted by y. Therefore you have pashyai, shrunwan, sprushai, jigran, etc. Now this will definitely help in understanding the textual features primarily for some learners. Those who want to go deeper in the construction, in understanding how the grammar gets constructed, they will also be able to realize that there are multiple variations which are woven together in the form of one string, one set of substitution. And so Pāṇini states this entire set in the form of a step-by-step derivation. And we realize that there are examples of each and every step, each and every variation. So sometimes in place of the visarga, you will see a visarga. Sometimes you will see sa. Sometimes you will see ra. Sometimes you will see ya. And sometimes you will see zero. That means the visarga gets deleted. All these are seen in the actual examples of Sanskrit. That is the reason why the great computer scientists who have worked on Sanskrit invariably have tackled the concept of sandhi, and they have built and they have developed modules to break the sandhi. Same is the case with the reverse of it, namely doing the sandhi. There are some things, some important facts, important features which remain to be unearthed, which one can humbly do and place in front of the scholars when one gets immersed into the tradition. Those facets have been placed before you in this particular course as well. Like what happens to the R? There is some statement about R that has come up. So, Sadar Pranam to all of you. Samhita is in fact the basis for sandhi to take place. The word sandhi is derived from the verbal root dha with the preverb sam. The word sandhi is also used in many other shastras apart from Vyakarana, namely Natya Shastra. I mean, the treatises on the composition of the plays, the dramas, and then also treatises on politics, Arthashastra. The meanings of sandhi in both these fields, shastras, differs from what it is in the Vyakarana. However, there seems to be one common feature, namely that there is some kind of unification of the units that is happening in the process of sandhi. So sandhi is a feature of vakya as far as grammar is concerned. The Vaiyakaranas who argue for the akhanda vakya and akhanda vakyartha and vakya over and above the pada samudaya. Sandhi happens to be an important phenomenon in their favor to say that, look, the sentence is an independent over and above whole, which is over and above the parts in terms of the padas. That is the beauty of sandhis. Also, the diagrammatic explanation of different types of sandhis is made primarily for one to remember which element gets substituted by which other element and how many elements get substituted by another element, one element or two elements. What is added and where exactly is it added? So that each and every sound will be accounted for in Sanskrit. That is an extremely important concern for the Sanskrit grammarians and for the speakers of Sanskrit, and that has been a part of the entire pedagogy of Sanskrit, especially the Sanskrit Vyakarana, where we proudly say Ardhamatra Laghavena Putrotsavam Manyante Vyakaranaha. So if we are able to save even half a matra, the Vyakaranas get extremely delighted, as if they are celebrating the birth of their son. That kind of delight they get, even if they are able to save even half a matra. And that is something very crucial, very important. And therefore, various modules, various topics, themes have been arranged in such a manner so that you get a glimpse of them, as well as you get to know how the grammar of Pāṇini deals with those sandhis. That is the aim, and the arrangement of the material is done in accordance with this aim and to serve this particular goal. So I request you to post your questions, your comments, and the points you want some clarification on, and we'll try to address them. Acha. At least assignment you should give in both language. Oh, you mean Devanagari as well as the Roman transliteration, is it? Can it is possible to conversation of this course is Hindi or other Indian languages? This, I think, we should ask the authorities of the NPTEL स्वयं. हिंदी में हो सकता है, अदर भाषाओं में भी हो सकता है. In fact, I remember there is a project that is going on which which converts the speech in the NPTEL lectures into the form of the text, and gives some subtitles. And they also translate in other Indian languages. So maybe they can help in this regard. हम अन्य भाषाओं में कर सकते हैं, हिंदी में कर सकते हैं, संस्कृत में भी कर सकते हैं. संस्कृतेन कर्तुं शक्यम् इदम्. संस्कृते तावत् काचन भिन्ना परिभाषा वर्तते, यत्र विभक्तीनां विनियोगः निर्णायको भवति. सप्तमी विभक्तेः, षष्ठी विभक्तेः, पंचम्याश्च विभक्तेः तत्र भूयान् विनियोगो भवति. पारिभाषिकोऽयं विनियोगः. एवञ्च तद् ज्ञात्वा व्यवहारः तत्र कर्तुं शक्यते, ज्ञातुमपि शक्यते. किन्तु एतत्तु अग्रे कर्तुं शक्यं, पश्यामः यदि शक्यं करिष्यामः. अन्यथा अन्यत्र ये पाठाः प्रवर्तन्ते तत्र करिष्यामः. इति अवश्यं वक्तुं शक्यम्. Oh, so in the previous, at least assignment, you should give in both language. By both language, you mean English as well as Hindi, right? So that is something to be decided by the authorities. We will do, we can do. And as I said to you, we can also do it in Sanskrit. So I spoke something general about the notion of sandhi, also spoke about the importance of it, gave you certain examples from the celebrated text of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Now, when we learn the concept of sandhi in Pāṇinian grammar, we always some questions were raised in the forum with copy to you. Has it been answered? So some questions have not yet been answered. They will be answered. But if you can ask some of them here, we can definitely try tackling them to the best of our abilities. Another question? Yes, please. Okay. For Udatta and Anudatta, is there a standard reference source which tells us that particular form of a word has following swaras, structure, or this the manner it has to be constructed? For Udatta, uh, okay. Oh, so there are two points. One is related to the accent and the other one is related to crew. Okay. So let me finish with the swara and then I'll come to this screw question. So for example, Rama has this swara structure, Labhate has this structure. So we have been told to simplify the question. The lexicon just gives the verb labha, prapta, to get, etc. Okay, so the point is that you are absolutely right that the lexicon gives you the verbal root labha, which means prapti, to get, etc. And it never gives you the accent marks, the accent information. Is this good or bad? It's a different matter altogether. When we study Pāṇinian grammar, we invariably learn the fact that accent information is the very basic, very fundamental, foundational information that Pāṇini has noted down. So Pāṇini has noted down the accent on the verbal root labha, and then he has constructed it with the help of the sutras and has constructed the accent of labhate. As a pada. And then when this labhate becomes a part of the sentence, then the sentential accent also takes place, which is also structured using the sutras in Pāṇini's grammar. And then the accent of labhate changes. So that becomes the Vakya Swara. And then you also have the Pada Swara, as well as the Prakriti Swara and the Pratyaya Swara. This is what is explained in the lectures of the compositionality in Pāṇinian grammar, which works at the three levels, namely Artha, Shabda, and Swara. And there is quite a lot of correspondence between the Artha and the Shabda, as well as the Swara. So, Rama, which is a word which is derived from the verbal root Rama, according to the tradition, by adding the suffix gai, makes it having a particular kind of accent. And then you have that rule followed. And now Rama will have the final vowel accented, which is now the accent of the Pratipadika. And when we say accent, we mean Udatta. And of course, there is a scheme of marking the Udatta, which is generally followed in the Pāṇinian grammatical tradition, the way we have followed in the lectures in the course. And this is primarily following the Rigvedic tradition. This is how Udatta, Anudatta, etc. are marked in the Rigvedic tradition. In the Yajurveda tradition, they will be marked in a different manner. But in the Rigvedic tradition, this is how they are marked. And Udatta remains without any symbol, without any extra sign. The Anudatta is marked with a horizontal bar below the letter, and the Swarita is marked with the vertical bar on top of the letter. This is how the Udatta and the Anudatta and the Swarita swaras, they get marked in the Pāṇinian grammar following the Rigvedic accent marking style. Obviously, when you study the Vedas, you come across these accents. And these accents are preserved in the oral tradition as well as in the written tradition. So how will you explain the written symbols indicating the accents. If you have the Pāṇinian grammatical tradition with you, the knowledge of it, then you'll be able to do it very easily. That said, the other point is that because Pāṇini also notes down the accent on non-Vedic language also, we have tried to also present that part to you. So accent is an important feature, and that is structured. The only standard reference source is the sutras of Pāṇini, which tell you where an accent will fall, which item, which swara will be udatta in which particular word, etc. So this is on the udatta and anudatta. Now let us go to the other question. This is okay. In one of the videos, the derivative of crew is taken up, and Vyakarana Siddhanta Kaumudi was quoted, and the word papa was mentioned in Shankara Bhashya. Nowhere is this word defined. Can you explain the meaning of this word? So, so there is in the Vyakarana Siddhanta Kaumudi, there is a sutra, Shayya Jayau Shakyarthe. Shayya Jayau Shakyarthe. And this sutra means that the words Shayya and Jayya, they are to be constructed, they are to be accepted as sadhu shabdas when the meaning Shakya. The same is repeated in this chat. I can see it on my screen. Okay. So I'm also able to see this comment here, and that's what I'm responding to. Copied here by IITB. Okay. Okay. So okay. So one's marked yellow and fourth item. So what I'm trying to say is that the Sutra Kshaya Jaya Shakyarthe says that Shaya and Jaya are the sadhu words, Nipatana words, when the meaning Shakya is to be denoted. Otherwise, you get the forms Shaya and Jaya. So the context is that of Vantoyi Pratyaye. The Sutra Vantoyi Pratyaye, which says that when the Yakaradi Pratyaya follows, O and Au are substituted always by Av and Av. And the examples are given. lavyam, avashya lavyam, and so on. And in the same context, the sutra comes in chaya chayau shakyarthe. So, the Kaumudi says ksheyam papam jayam manah. Ksheyam papam jayam manah. So, papa is to be destroyed. Ksheyam. But the point is that it is not always possible to do it. But if it was referred to as kshaya, then it would have meant that it is possible to get rid of it, to destroy it. So jaya means kshayam papam jayam mana. Manas is jaya, but it is not always possible. So jaya means something that is to be won over and what is also possible. And therefore we have a famous line in which Ajayyancha Vishwasya Dehisha Shaktim, a Sanskrit line I remember somehow suddenly. Ajayyancha Vishwasya Dehisha Shaktim. So, O Isha, give us the Shakti which is Ajayya, which will never be conquered, which is not possible to conquer. Ashakya. So this is the explanation of that quote from Vaiyakarana Siddhanta Kaumudi, Kshayam Papam Jayam Manah. Explaining the difference between the Shakya and what should be done. Karya. Shakya and Karya. I think it is in a clutter on the screen of Professor. Shayam Papam Jayam Manah. That is the line that I remember from the Vaiyakarana Siddhanta Kaumudi. So, coming back to the question on accent, although we have introduced them, we have preferred to not to stretch it further. We need assignments in both languages, Sanskrit and English. Okay. So, we have decided not to stretch it further because of obvious reasons, because um, nowhere the accents are known and introduced, and it will create some unnecessary confusion in the minds of the students. That's why we have not we have stopped at only introducing them and stating that these swaras, they are also integral part of the Sanskrit language, not just the Vedic language, but also of the non-Vedic language. And Pāṇini has noted the Vedic accents as well as the non-Vedic accents. So if you study the Sayana Bhashya on the Rigveda, you will find Acharya Sayana quoting Pāṇini almost regularly on each and every point that he wants to talk about related to accent. That is the significance of the accent rules composed by Pāṇini. One thing we should remember that Pāṇini has also noted them down on the non-Vedic language. In fact, sometimes the meaning element also gets affected due to these accents. That is why they are very crucial, and they can be taken up clearly for further future study. So संस्कृतेन कर्तुं शक्यं, संस्कृतेन चिकीर्षितं, तथा पाठानां प्रवर्तनेषु परिपाटी पालिता अपि सैव अग्रेपि नेतुं शक्या। अत्रैव एतेष्वपि माध्यमेषु। Okay. So please post any other questions you want to ask, any other thing you want to talk about. Although this material draws heavily on the personal learning as well as teaching experience of mine, there are resources that you can also utilize where there are translations, etc. and especially the list of words and so on. But the matter then becomes confusing, to avoid which we have followed certain pattern. So one thing I would also request you to keep the text of Ashtadhyayi in front of you. It is very important. It is VSK as per your video. VSK, yes. Abbreviated name of a text. So VSK stands for Vaiyakarana Siddhanta Kaumudi. VSK, that is how Vaiyakarana Siddhanta Kaumudi is generally referred to by people, by scholars, when they publish their articles and so on. So those abbreviations are also used. And that's why I quoted the text, Sheyam Papam Jayam Manaha, on the Sutra Shaya Jayau Shakyarthe. Which is in 6.1. Six one 81. Shakyarthe kim kshetum yogyam ksheyam papam jayam manah. It is kshetum yogyam. But not kshetum shakyam. That's why Kshaya and Jaya. So please ask any other questions, any other queries, any other doubts. That you might have. Transmission not okay. We'll see later. You may wind up. Okay. Okay then. So I wish you all the best. And on the occasion of Ganesh Chaturthi, which is going to be celebrated from tomorrow, I wish you uh, all good luck, all good wishes. Thank you. See you again. Bye. Hmm?